misinformation and myth. For a start, people put it around that we've nationalised the banks. We haven't nationalised the banks. We've subsidised the banks. We've given them free money. We haven't nationalised them because we're not in control of them. If we'd nationalised them, we'd be in there at the weekend photocopying our last and phoning Australia or whatever. It would be ours to play with. We need to nationalise the banks. That's what we need to do. We need to take them over. We've paid for them. They're ours. This is a matter of consumer affairs, I think you'll find. So what we need to do once we've got hold of the bank is we can then start to direct social policy. Royal Bank of Scotland's got 16 billion quid worth of investment in fossil fuels. We can shut that down. We can shut down 16 billion quid worth of carbon. We can shut that down. The Royal Bank, we can break this stuff down and go back to the idea that banking and finance was actually about community, where we would lend money or put money into a credit union or a building society, and our friends and our neighbours would be able to borrow that cash, and we'd all be linked together as a community. Now, what we also need to do is I need to just tell you about the messages that will come out about the G20 is they will start saying that they're going to act on tax havens. They're not. They're going to get a few bits of paper that say, when you ask for some information about an individual, we might give it to you. We've got to shut them down. We've got to shut down the tax havens because the Tax Justice Network estimates that we lose in this country approximately £100 billion a year in corporate tax evasion and avoidance. 100 billion. And then they have the audacity to publish one of those fucking adverts that says we're closing in, we know where you live, you're cheating on the benefits. We should be putting the DSS onto the bankers. They'd get them. They would get them. We need to be shutting down these tax loopholes. Lord Brown, who is in fact the ex-chair of BP, admitted recently that the oil industry avoided tax, in subsidy and in tax avoidance, was amassing about 100 billion a year. We need to shut these down. We need, I'll tell you what, this is how absurd it has got. PFI contract, the obsession with the market, has led to the fact that now if you walk down Whitehall, those government buildings aren't owned by the government, they're not owned by the public. The Magistrates Revenue and Customs is actually owned by Maitli, a company called Maitli, who are based. A Magistrates Revenue and Customs actually have to lease their offices from a company called Maitli, who are based in Jersey. So the tax system rents its offices from tax dodgers. Yes! The Treasury has their building owned by Barclays Private Equity. And so the tax system, once again, we're paying for tax dodgers. If you look at a place like the Home Office is owned by HSB Infrastructure based in Guernsey. We're paying tax money to tax dodgers. Stoke Mandeville Hospital belongs in Guernsey. The Metropolitan Police Training Centre belongs in Guernsey. All this money is going offshore. And we have to stop it. It got to the point where actually the MOD, we had a demo outside the MOD recently, because the MOD is actually owned by Henderson, who are based in Jersey. So the MOD rent their office from tax dodgers. And we had a big demo there, a little demo actually, I call it big because no one can check. But it was a big demo, huge of thousands of them. And we had big banners demanding that the armed forces of this country do something sensible, namely invade Jersey and get the title deeds back. There are lots of good reasons to invade Jersey. Number one, it's on the way back from Iraq. Number two, the islanders are used to occupation and haven't proved troublesome in the past. Number three, there are no American troops involved, so casualties should be light. So the point being is, we have privatised and we have securitized and financialised our lives and the institutions that should be binding us together And now, when the market has fallen, they come back to us for the bailout. It's not there any longer. The deal is this. You fucked it. You broke it. You want us to mend it. We're going to have it. The other thing that they're going to be talking about on the G20 is they will start to talk about aid for developing countries. And when they talk about aid, they don't mean money that gets given. They talk about loans. So once again, they're using the thinking that got us in the problem in the first place. They're looking at pumping billions of dollars into developing world countries who are in incredible crisis because of this recession. But it's not aid, it's a loan. The IMF, which is the very institution which has caused such destitution in developing worlds, is going to be the instrument through which they put this money, through which they loan this money. If you go back to 1997, Indonesia was in crisis, had an economic crisis, the Asian economic crisis. The IMF stepped in, and the IMF put conditions on the loan. And the conditions were low interest rates, and you cut public spending. The effect was 10 million Indonesians were unemployed because of an IMF loan. We have to say, we will not tolerate the absolute destruction and decimation of societies in developing world countries to suit your stupid inane bailout. You have got the greatest timing of any crowd I've ever seen. I want to say thank you very much for coming along. Thanks for listening to us speak. I hope you enjoy the coming days of demonstrating in the city and make sure that we begin to build a movement. That's what we need to do, to build a movement that involves as many people as possible so that we make laissez-faire capitalism just absolutely disgustingly distasteful.
Unfashionable.